Well, welcome back, everyone. Wesley, how are you doing?
I'm good, Reed. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us for another installment episode, whatever we want to call these, of our HST student highlights. Thank you so much for joining us. So to start off, Wesley, just tell us a bit about you and your family, where you're living, what you're doing, and maybe some other interesting things about you as we get started.
Well, I just got married in May of 2020 to my wife, Alexis, and we both,
Congratulations.
thank you. We both live in Kingwood, Texas. We just moved here 2 months ago. I'm a youth minister at Kingwood Church of Christ. Uh, so we both do ministry together. She stays home and she comes to all the events with me and the teens. And
Mm.
starting next week, she's going to have an office day, but
Oh,
she's not on staff, but she just wants to do ministry with me. So yeah, so we have a small family so far. We're looking forward to having kids soon, but we're just pacing ourselves and trying to enjoy marriage and ministry.
mm, that's great. A lot of new chapters for you right now. That's
Absolutely.
great. That's great. You need to get your wife to take some HST courses. She's going to
I
be
know, yeah.
sure right with you.
It'll be about what, $50 a course
Yeah,
because
it's a great deal. Wow.
yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna start getting her to come with me.
That's great. That's great. So what we're going to kind of get moving on. What has been your journey to HST? Where'd you go to undergrad? Maybe what were you doing before moving to Kingwood?
Well, I went to Harding University and I got a Bible ministry degree, and that was my undergrad degree. And so I wanted to do ministry. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do.
Mm,
I've been passionate about preaching and teaching ever since I was about 15. And I was going to just pursue an education degree
mm,
when I went to Harding and then do preaching on the side. But I guess God just kind of convicted me, and I had a moment after my first semester at Harding, and I decided to just change my degree. So I did a couple of youth internships in Texas throughout those 4 years at Harding, and then I got to my last second to the last semester, and I was offered a youth ministry job. So I was working part time while I was finishing my last year at a church in Tennessee.
wow.
I would drive about 2.5 hours every Sunday to go and teach a class Sunday morning to the youth group that I was working for. So
Wow.
after I graduated, I already had a job. So I moved to Memphis or Millington, Tennessee, which is
Mm,
pretty close to Memphis.
mhm,
So I was there for about 2.5 years doing youth ministry, and it was really great. I learned a lot. I developed a lot as a man. That's where I met my wife,
mm.
got married, and a couple things changed, and we got an opportunity to be in Kingwood, and then we took that opportunity, and here we are today.
That's awesome. When did you start taking courses at HST?
Yeah, so I went into it that first semester after I graduated from Harding in
Okay.
2018. So I started in the fall of 2018. I took a semester off in spring of 2019, and that's
Mhm.
because my last year at Harding, I took about 40 hours
Oof. Goodness.
altogether. In the fall
Mhm.
semester, I took 19. In the spring, I took 21 while I was working part time as a youth minister. So I was kind of burnt out by the time I finished that first semester at HST. I wanted to take a break, and it was really good. I know people were nervous about me taking that break. They thought that I wouldn't come back, but I came back and I was ready, and I've been excited about study. And I just realized that I have to pace myself, and I got to be
Mm,
okay with pacing myself because I would look around and be kind of nervous because I want to be with the people that I started with, and I
mm.
see that people have already graduated and people are moving ahead of me. But I've learned to be okay with that and just be okay with the ministry of study at this pace that I'm at.
Mm, yeah. I think that's a really healthy thing to kind of understand and realize early on. Because I definitely get that too. I started off at HST doing like two classes a year because I would take the summer off for youth ministry. It's like, oh man, this is going to take me a while. So I appreciate that. Are you, now that you're in Kingwood, are you doing just like a course every semester, or kind of what's your
Yeah.
course load like right
So
now?
my plan as of now is to take one course in the spring, one in the fall, and one in the summer. I know I'm being kind of ambitious with that, but I'm pretty confident that I can kind of structure my my schedule in a way
Mm,
to where that's feasible. But of course, I can make changes if I need to, and
that's right. Yeah.
I have that in mind, and my wife, she knows that as well. So if things get crazy, we can make some adjustments.
Mm, mm. Well, that's good too, because that means you just need to get your parents more involved in the summers, which in youth
Right.
ministry sometimes is a very difficult
Yeah,
undertaking.
absolutely. And the situation that we have here is unique. Before I came, there was two moms that were kind of leading the youth group. We didn't have a youth minister before, so there's a strong parental involvement already, and I'm just
Mm,
trying to build upon that and keep that rolling. So it's a very fortunate situation that I'm in.
yeah, that's very cool. So, are you their first youth minister, or just kind of first youth minister in a while?
First youth minister in a while. Yeah, they've had a couple throughout the years, but I guess at some point they just decided to kind of let the parents kind of do their own thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
and they did.
Sometimes that can work, really well and be a really healthy situation. That's cool. That's really cool. So when did you? So you were doing youth ministry for about 2.5 years in Tennessee. When did you graduate undergrad?
In 2018, May of
2018. Gotcha.
2018.
Gotcha. That's great, man. You got married at such a crazy time, and then you got a
Yeah,
lot of things going on. But that's great.
absolutely. 2020 was, me and my wife were just talking about this morning. It was a hard year for a lot of people. It was challenging for us, but it was a good year for us as well.
Mm,
We got married, we got to move to a new place. We started ministry together. She graduated from college,
mm,
and it was a hard time to graduate. She didn't get to walk across the stage or anything, but she did finish.
mm,
So 2020 was a huge year for both of us, and we had a Zoom wedding.
yeah.
That's how we got married.
Zoom
And
wedding.
yeah, she never really wanted a big wedding, and
Mm,
I didn't want one either. I consider myself somewhat of a minimalist,
hmm.
so I've always been passionate about keeping things simple, and she's like that too. So she didn't even want a Zoom wedding, and I had a Zoom wedding in mind because my mom, she couldn't make it, but
Mm,
she ended up coming anyway. So she was there in person, and it was just me, my wife, her parents, my parents, my little brother, and her little sister at the wedding.
wow. Wow. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a trend, post COVID in 2020. I think a lot of people are realizing smaller weddings are kind of nice.
Yeah,
Kind of nice.
absolutely.
That's
We
great.
paid $0 for our wedding.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Well, again, congratulations, man. That's so exciting. New ministry and um, new marriage starting off. That's wonderful. Well, great. We'll get into, well, we got one more question before our speed round. I'm skipping ahead. Kind of with this transition and in your time of youth ministry, what have you found to be some maybe spiritual practices that have kept you healthy during COVID, but also just during your studies and your work balance life?
That's a great question. For me, it's been as simple as just having good habits.
Mm,
And I mean, breaking it down to the basics, drinking water,
yeah.
taking time to be still and process, exercising, eating well. That this year was full of a lot of uncertainties for me and my wife. I was kind of just moving, and I like to worry a lot. I like to get into my head and just get anxious because I like to plan. I like to have things kind of in order, and we didn't have that a lot in 2020. So having those moments of stillness was very important. I try to have at least 15 minutes a day. And when I first moved to Kingwood, I developed a digestion issue. So
Okay.
we don't know what the cause was of that, but I think it was because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating well. I wasn't exercising, and I don't think I was drinking enough water. So it's basic things like that that I've been trying to pay attention to, and
Mm,
just try to cover the basics and take care of myself so that I can better take care of others and be a better husband and be a better minister.
that's great. I think that's, man, drinking water is probably the first time we've heard that on this little thing we're doing, but that is such good advice.
Yeah, I
I
mean it's basic. You have basic needs that we need
mm,
to meet, and it affects everything. I think.
yeah. Well, I think like something so simple reminds us of how human we are. This is
Yeah,
how God has made us. We need water, we need sunshine, and people around us. That's so simple, but I think it's so true. Hey, and also, man, that Houston weather might get you. That might be part of your health. You never know.
yes, man. The weather and the food, man.
That's right. That's right.
Ever since I hit the ground running, and people just started bringing me out to all types of places to eat, and I'm just like, my body's like, oh boy, I need some greens, I need some vegetables.
That's right. That's right, man. Yeah, that's funny. Well, cool. We'll get on to our kind of speed round, just kind of first thing that comes to your mind, some fun questions to get to know you. So the first one is, if you could have dinner with one person from the Bible besides Jesus, because we all know we would say Jesus, who would that person be, and one sentence why?
Hmm. I want to say maybe Paul. uh,
Good one.
he was just sold out. He was dedicated. He's a man of mystery too. Like there's clarity in the epistles and all these things, but there's a lot of ambiguity, and I want to know what he meant by certain things. I want to know what the thorn in the flesh was, and maybe sitting down with him, I would know some of these things and know exactly what he meant when he said certain things. So probably the Apostle Paul.
Yeah. What is a favorite book you've read this past year?
Ooh, this past year.
And not just 2021. That would probably be pretty tough.
Yeah, we just started 4 days ago. This past year, I read quite a bit. I'm not sure if this was in 2020, but I did read The Universal Christ by Richard Rohr. That was pretty good. I'm a fan of Richard Rohr and his books. I read this is a really good one for youth ministry. Practical Wisdom for Youth Ministers. I think that's the name of the book, but I just read that. It's by David Phrase. Practical Wisdom for Youth Ministry.
Yeah.
It was a really it was kind of thick, but it was really good. And I've got my wife a copy as well, so she'll be reading it. And it's just basic things and really, really beneficial for youth ministers.
Yeah, that's a good one. Have you read Sustainable Youth Ministry?
I haven't.
It's a good book. It's a good one. Very practical. What is your favorite movie of all time?
I love movies. I'm glad you asked this. My favorite director is Christopher Nolan.
Okay.
I love all his. I haven't seen all of his movies. There's a couple I need to watch. So of all time, I think I want to say Interstellar. I love that movie. It's a space movie, but I believe I think it goes deeper than just space.
Yeah.
And just especially that ending scene. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's been a while. It stressed me out a bit, so I think I might have blocked it from my mind.
That's the thing, though. When I first watched it, that's how I felt. It's you got to watch it a couple times. And my wife, till this day, she does not like it. She's only seen it one time, but I think it's a very, very deep movie, and I love space sci-fi movies, but that one is up there.
That's cool. That's a good one. Yeah, that's great. What are some hobbies you have outside of work, studies? What do you like to do for fun?
I love hiking. I love just being outside. I like eating my lunch at the park, like an old man. I for a while I really loved making YouTube videos and just creating. Ever since I got married and ever since 2020 happened, it's been hard to kind of sit down and create and make things. I do want to get back into that, but those are some things I love to do. I love photography. I love video work, all that.
Yeah, that's cool. I've noticed that too with like sermon writing and just class writing. It's hard to be creative when you're not around people and you're just kind of at home. There's something about that sucks with creativity. But last question, and this will be interesting because you just moved, but what is something you appreciate or like about the city that you live in?
Well, I live in the city of Kingwood, which is a part of Houston. So maybe I can just talk about Kingwood and then maybe Houston too, I guess. But Kingwood they call it the livable forest. So it's a very green city. And as you drive through it, it's very clear that there's trees everywhere. They're very, it's very, very nature-like. And I appreciate that. I love being outside and I love nature. So that's what I love. My wife and I, we're not too crazy about the food. We're pretty picky. Our standards are pretty high coming from Memphis. So we miss our wings and our Memphis barbecue and all that. But
I lived in Houston for a bit. I don't know about Kingwood, but there are a lot of good restaurants in Houston, but unfortunately Houston is ginormous. so
That's
it's just
right.
hard to get there.
That's the problem because we're in Kingwood, which is technically a part of Houston, and we drive about 30 minutes to go to some good places.
That's right, man. Hey, well, Wesley, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really great to get to know you more, and we'll be praying for you and your marriage and your ministry. So it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Reed. Thank you.
Bye.